She spoke out when everyone expected her to stay silent. When the numbers came in, most headlines focused on failure, a supposed box office flop that barely cracked the top 10. But Sydney Sweeney wasn't reading those headlines. Instead, she was writing her own. Because behind the disappointing charts and cold statistics, there was a story far more powerful than any weekend earnings report. If you're watching, make sure to subscribe to Glance of Fame for the latest celebrity updates. Her film Christy, a raw, emotional biopic about real-life boxer Christy Martin, hit theaters on November 7th. Critics called it risky. Fans called it inspiring. And when the movie opened to just $1.3 million across more than 2,000 screens, social media lit up with mixed reactions. Some wondered if Sweeney had lost her momentum after a string of big hits. Others believed the industry simply wasn't ready for a film that hit this hard emotionally. But Sydney didn't flinch. Because for her, this wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about something much deeper. Just days after the disappointing box office reports, Sydney broke her silence, and she didn't sound defeated. On November 10th, she posted a heartfelt message on Instagram, alongside behind-the-scenes photos from Christy. There was no bitterness, no excuses, just raw honesty and pride. "We don't always just make art for numbers," she wrote. "We make it for impact." Her words hit hard. In a world obsessed with opening weekend totals and streaming stats, Sydney reminded everyone what filmmaking was supposed to be about: meaning, not math. She called Christy one of the greatest honors of my life, and said portraying boxing legend Christy Martin was more than a role, it was a mission. Before Christy was a film, it was a fight, one that started decades ago in the real-life boxing ring. Christy Martin wasn't just any athlete, she was a trailblazer, punching through a sport that rarely welcomed women. Rising from small-town bouts in the late 80s to pay-per-view glory in the 90s, she became a household name. But behind the gloves and glory was a chilling reality, enduring years of abuse from her husband and trainer, James Martin. When she finally escaped, her story became one of survival and defiance, the kind of truth Hollywood often avoids because it's too raw, too real. Sydney knew that weight when she took the role. She wasn't just playing a fighter, she was channeling someone who refused to stay down, no matter how many times life threw punches. For Sydney, Christy became more than a film, it turned into a cause. In her Instagram post, she revealed how the project helped raise awareness for domestic violence survivors through its promotional campaigns. "This film stands for survival, courage, and hope," she wrote. Fans began sharing their own survival stories under her post. Domestic violence awareness pages praised her for using her voice for something real. Online speculation suggested Sydney's passion for the story could be deeply personal, though nothing has been confirmed. What mattered was that the film wasn't made to impress the box office, it was made to touch the people who needed it most. Just weeks before Christy hit theaters, Sydney took the stage at Variety's Power of Women event, and her words revealed just how deeply the role had affected her. "Surviving isn't the end of the story," she said. "It is the beginning of reclaiming it." She urged young women to recognize their own strength. "Your power is already within you. You don't have to wait for permission to be brave." Fans online connected the dots between her speech and the film, realizing Sydney had poured every ounce of emotion into portraying Christy Martin's journey, both the victories and the pain. While Sydney's message struck a chord with fans, Hollywood insiders had mixed reactions. Some executives questioned whether choosing such a heavy, personal story over a guaranteed blockbuster was a smart career move. Rumors began circulating that studio heads worried her risk-taking approach could affect future casting opportunities. Yet fans praised her courage, calling her a rising star unafraid to take meaningful risks. Social media debates raged over whether Christy was a box office failure or a triumph of purpose over profit. Even analysts admitted that while numbers were low, the film had already succeeded in creating conversations few movies dare to spark. In the end, Sydney Sweeney's journey with Christy proves that success isn't always measured in box office numbers. It's measured in impact, in the courage she helped inspire, and in the conversations she started about survival, resilience, and empowerment. While the weekend totals may have disappointed some, The ripple effect of her work is already undeniable, from fans sharing their own stories to raising awareness for domestic violence survivors around the world. Sydney herself summed it up best. This was never about charts or earnings. It was about giving life to a story that deserved to be told and giving strength to those who needed it most. Christy may not have dominated theaters, but it has dominated hearts. And that, she insists, is a legacy worth fighting for.